In this lesson, we will focus on creating the French window using a slightly different approach compared to traditional modeling. Instead of building every single part of the frame from scratch, we will take advantage of the capabilities of the ArchiPack add-on. This add-on, which can be purchased for a one-time fee, allows you to quickly insert pre-configured architectural elements, greatly streamlining the workflow and ensuring high-quality results in a very short time. Although ArchiPack can be used as a true BIM tool, I personally prefer to use it only to occasionally integrate specific structural elements as needed. In this way, I maintain maximum flexibility and control over the entire modeling process. I believe this add-on is of great value for architectural design. The speed and precision with which it allows you to insert elements like doors and windows fully justifies its cost. ArchiPack therefore proves to be a valuable ally for those of us who need to make the modeling phase of architectural components in Blender more efficient. First, we go to the Gamrod website where the add-on is available, and after making the purchase, we proceed to download it. Once ArchiPack is downloaded, we open the Blender file we saved in the previous lesson and bring up the Preferences window. We click on the downward arrow and select the option Install from Disk. We navigate within the File Explorer window until we find the zip file we downloaded. At this point, we select the ArchiPack file and click the Install from Disk button, or simply double-click directly on the file. Once the installation is complete, we will find a Create tab along the right vertical edge of the viewport. To speed up the insertion of the French window, the first thing we need to do is correctly position the 3D cursor. Set the view to top and change the display mode to wireframe. In the outliner, temporarily disable the floor collection to make the viewport cleaner and easier to read. Switch back to perspective view and select the perimeter wall. Change the working mode to edit mode. Make sure the selection mode is set to vertex and select the two vertices at the base of the wall. Press Shift S and from the menu that appears, choose Cursor to Selected. Switch back to object mode and restore the top view. Click on the View tab located along the right side of the viewport. Open the 3D cursor menu. Click in the Y-axis field of the location parameter and place the cursor at the end of the indicated value. Since we moved the wall 300 centimeters downward, type +150 and press the Enter key. With this simple operation, we have correctly positioned the 3D cursor for inserting the French door. Let's reactivate the floor collection and change the display mode to solid. It's time to insert our French door. Open the Create tab located along the right side of the viewport and click on Window. The window that opens displays a whole range of possible types of frames that we can add to our scene. The goal is to insert a basic model that we can later modify according to our needs. So let's click on the 180 by 210 flat 3 model, a 3-panel frame. Now we need to customize it. Since ArchiPack is designed to work like a BIM and therefore requires that to insert an opening you must have a wall created by the same add-on, we are not allowed to modify the model. In fact, if we try to select the frame, Blender doesn't allow it. However, there is a very simple way to get around this problem. Press the ESC key to delete the object and immediately after, press Ctrl-Z to make it reappear. As we can see, we are now perfectly able to select the model. Blender has also added a new collection called ArchiPack in the outliner, which includes all the geometries needed to create the model. These geometries are in parametric format, which allows us complete customization of the object. Given its characteristic of functioning like BIM software, ArchiPack has also created a holes collection, intended for modeling the opening that theoretically should have been created in the parametric wall as well. However, we can disable this to make the object cleaner. A small tip: to ensure that the changes you make to the French door are actually applied, you need to select the object by its outer frame. Alternatively, to be even more certain, simply click on the geometry named Window found in the outliner within the collection openings. If we accidentally select the glass panes or one of the shutters, any changes will not be applied. So let's proceed with the customization. With the window frame selected, press RZ -90 to rotate the frame by 90 degrees. and make sure that the handle is positioned inside the room. Let's rotate the view so that we can observe the French door from inside our room. Among the tabs on the right side of the viewport, there is now a new ArchiPack tab that appears when we select the model and allows us to modify its geometry. Click to open the tab. There are three main menus. Main allows you to modify the general properties of the French door. LIF acts on the number and type of panels, whether fixed or operable. Parts allows you to modify in detail all the other parts of the frame. In the main menu, set both the width and height values to 300 centimeters. For now, don't worry if the French door extends beyond the wall. For this type of customization, we will often find ourselves changing the same parameters several times before achieving the optimal result. Let's move to the Parts menu and deactivate the checkboxes related to the seal out and seal in parameters. This way, we remove the external and internal thresholds. For the handle parameter, click on Inside and select the None option to hide the handle. Let's open the leaf menu and set the window leaf parameter to 2 to reduce the number of panels. Now that we've set up the window frame in general, let's size it so that it fits perfectly into the opening we've left. So let's go back to the main menu. We've decided to keep the French door at a width of 300 centimeters. Therefore, we need to reposition it and move the perimeter wall back. Let's set the top view and switch the display mode to wireframe. We move the window frame downward along the Y-axis, and using the snap tool, we attach it to the inner side of the wall behind the sideboard. We select the perimeter wall, move it downward, and using the snap tool, attach it to the lower end of the window frame. Let's switch back to an internal perspective view and select the window frame. We set the altitude value to 6 centimeters so that the window frame sits perfectly on the floor. We set this value simply because the perimeter frame of the French door is 6 centimeters. In fact, if we go to the Parts menu and open the window frame parameter, we can see that the frame section is exactly 6 centimeters on each side. Let's go back to the main menu and repeatedly click on the left side of parameter 8 to lower the height of the French door and reach the arch formed by the ceiling. Let's open the leaf menu and make the changes that will allow us to create the transom window. Set the number of rows parameter to 2. In row 1, increase the value 8 to 200 centimeters. In row 2, check the fixed boxes. This way, we make the transom window non-openable. In this lesson, we saw how, thanks to this useful add-on, it was possible to easily and quickly create a high-quality model. In fact, this method allowed us to insert a very well-modeled and detailed window frame. Now let's save the file incrementally. In the next lesson, we will add the furnishing elements.